We've all seen the pop culture stereotype of the failure to launch. It's the image of a lazy 20-something hiding away in a dark childhood basement, refusing to grow up and move out. But the data paints a very different picture. Currently, 1 in 4 young adults, a full quarter of everyone between the ages of 25 and 34, lives in a multi-generational household. We haven't seen rates this high since the Great Depression, when economic collapse forced families to consolidate under one roof just to survive. It's easy to dismiss this as a lingering pandemic hangover or a specific character flaw of a younger generation, but the numbers suggest this isn't a sudden fluke. This line chart tracks the share of young adults living at home over the last 50 years. The trend actually began a slow, steady climb in 1971 and has been rising ever since. So, if this isn't a temporary trend or a lack of ambition, why has the childhood bedroom become the new norm for millions of people? And what does it say about the cost of modern independence? To find the answer, we have to look at the math. Over the last few decades, the cost of housing has aggressively pulled away from what entry-level jobs actually pay. This isn't just a feeling, it's a geographic reality. In metropolitan areas where rents are the highest, we see the highest percentages of young adults remaining in their parents' homes. The trend is also heavily concentrated within a specific demographic, young men who don't have a 4-year college degree. For these men, real earnings have effectively collapsed over the last half-century. The factory jobs that once provided a path to an independent life with only a high school diploma have largely disappeared. The divide is stark. Young adults without a degree are twice as likely to be living at home compared to their peers who finished college. For millions, moving back home isn't a choice driven by a lack of drive. It's a response to a landscape where local rents have simply climbed beyond what a typical paycheck can cover. Because of these economic pressures, the family home has changed its function. It has become a form of financial insurance, a way for families to manage risk when the labor market becomes precarious. The data reveals something counterintuitive. Young adults who live at home actually have a lower poverty rate, 10%, compared to the 12% poverty rate for those living on their own. This protective effect is even more pronounced for unemployed workers and marginalized communities. For these groups, living in a multi-generational household is often the difference between stability and crisis. By pooling resources and sharing expenses, families are creating a shield against job losses and the modern K-shaped economic recovery. This strategy became vital during the 2008 recession. The crisis taught an entire generation to use the family home as an emergency refuge when the housing market and the banking system failed them. Moving home isn't a sign of giving up. It is America's most effective private safety net, and for many, it is the only thing preventing a drop into poverty. But while utilizing this family safety net solves a short-term crisis, it creates a conflicting pressure for the future. Research from the Urban Institute shows that young adults who stay home between the ages of 25 and 34 are significantly less likely to own their own home 10 years later. The very thing that prevents immediate poverty can also slow down long-term wealth building and the ability to start a new, independent household. As long as housing stays scarce and wages fail to meet basic living costs, the childhood bedroom isn't a sign of personal failure. It's a rational, structural response to an economy that has changed the rules of independence.